So I was actually thinking of leaving politics because I had no expectation that the Liberals would take me. I mean, everyone who knows me
You were
knows.
kind of told that, weren't you, from
yeah.
even your own party?
For sure, because we were all looking around, looking at one another, trying to figure out who's the next one to cross the floor. And my whip talked to me, and I said, well, I've heard this rumor and that rumor, but all I know is it's not me. And he said, oh, well, we don't worry about you. They would never take you. So I was like, well, that's what I believed as well, that they would never take me. Because
You didn't take offense to that comment?
No, everybody knows I've been a conservative for 10 years, 4 times elected. I've said terrible things about the government for the last 10 years, so I didn't expect, honestly, that they would take me. And so one day I was talking to Evan Solomon. He's the minister in charge of federal economic development.
Okay.
And they had cut the funding for the riding by 50%. And they doubled the size of the riding. So I was on a begging mission, and I said, Evan, here's the great work that they've done with Community Futures. They've cut their funding. Do you think, you could look at, with your team, is there any way they could extend their funding? And he said, sure. When are you coming over? And I looked at him and I laughed. I said, well, I didn't get a call, and I don't expect I will.
Right.
And he said, would you like a call? And I said, well, I think that would be a discussion worth having. So at that point in time, like I said, I didn't have an expectation that they were going to be receptive to me coming over, and I didn't know what that would look like. It was the first time I had actually thought of it. So, we talked, and he talked about, the vision. Obviously, the Prime Minister has leveraged many of the conservative ideas into the platform, and so he's got this plan that is basically going to build Canada, nation-building projects.
What are those ideas that
Okay,
brought
so
from conservative?
Yeah, so we were always talking about making Canada an energy superpower and building nation-building projects. So that is now one of our tenets. Diversifying our trade away from the U.S. I think that's an important one. Combating affordability, combating crime, and bolstering our defense, which has been very depleted over the years. So all of these things, I think, are things that Canadians in general would like, people in Sarnia, Lambton, Bikeshwan would like, and I personally support. So when he laid out that vision, he said, do you want to meet with the Prime Minister? So I was like, okay. So when I met with the Prime Minister...
Getting a little serious now.
It's getting serious. I said, well, thank you for the meeting, but I've said awful things about you and the party for the last 10 years, and I can't really fix that. And he was super gracious. He looked at me and he said, you know what, I'm not interested in the past. I'm interested in moving forward. We've got a critical moment for the country, and you know what our priorities are.